million, but didn't quite pan out. Convergence got the better of us. This is now the 4th run that I'm attempting to do for Wednesday's episode. I've had a few unsuccessful runs because I'm trying things that I'm not as good at. But, you know, actually, let's do a fun one. Let's go for Thermal Lance Interceptor. I've had some fun with that in the past. It's a very different build, but it can be a lot of fun and surprisingly powerful when you get a couple thermal lances going at once. Definitely looking for engineer here. There we go. Had to use a lot of rerolls to get there though, so a little concerning. Now, I forget, it increases with blast radius and what else is it? Blast radius and rate of fire. So none of this is really going to help us, but shield cooldown is always a good pickup. So yeah, I was trying like some torrent plus torrent loaded mines runs and a couple things like that. Just wasn't quite panning out, you know, maybe because I hadn't eaten all day and it was 8 o'clock at night. But Chipotle got delivered, had some good dinner, and you know, relaxed for a little bit, and I'm ready to go. I think that this is going to be a solid run because I'm feeling it, and you don't need any more reason than that. So honestly, like the quicker we can get to interceptors, the better, because that's going to be a huge increase to our overall damage. Because I do really like running the interceptor ally build. I've done it a couple times now, and it's just a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it's like amazingly good, but I also have had just general thermal lance builds be, you know, 700k to 1 million capable. You know, nothing super special, but definitely solid builds. Rate of fire increases the lance, and then we're definitely going to want we're not going to want overseer, sorry. We want to be able to fire our own weapon in addition to having the allies fire them. Now, granted, we could consider overseer later on, just because it does give us 4 allies all firing a thermal lance, which is pretty good. I'll just say that. I think that Warpath is actually pretty good. Don't want self-destruction. I almost grabbed that out of habit from all of the cluster mine runs I've been doing recently. You want Candescence, and then honestly, like working on skirmish, you got to go for your typical Essence Sap setup. It's just kind of what I do, and you know, I tried a couple, some of those runs I was telling you about that ended up not being good enough for YouTube. I was doing some rapid reconstruction plus Essence Sap builds, so basically yeet the shield so you can be a little bit more aggressive with weapon upgrades. And you know, I was just running into some issues with it, especially on builds that take a while to get going. Evolution, I think, is more important than Terminate here. You know, powering up our allies is definitely the highest priority at the moment. I do have to remember the other big thing with Thermal Lance is getting into the stabilization tree so that you can get power reserves. It is pretty difficult to deal with the very slow rotation and movement while you've got a Thermal Lance going. All right, from here, probably go Magnitude. Yeah, we're not going to grab Shielded Construct or Self-Destruction right away. Actually, Self-Destruction is fine, but again, I'm not necessarily going to go Overseer until we're a little bit further along. Payload is definitely a good one, and then honestly, give me the Max Hull. You know, you definitely want to get tanky here, especially as Engineer, who doesn't have the greatest base stats. You know, the 90 base hull is a little on the low side. But ultimately, you know, from a Thermal Lance build perspective, we've gotten some of the core things already. I don't remember if I usually run Charge Shot on the Interceptor version of this. So Absorption does get us to Rancor. but I'm not going to do that yet. We got Ally Specialist, which is just absolutely amazing. You love to see it. You know, it's one of those that, like, if you can get the requisite construct specialist for the construct you're focusing on, then you're incredibly happy. I think we'll grab Terminate here. I want to get to Essence Sap just because Essence Sap works great with anything that primarily does burn damage, since burn damage does heal you with Essence Sap, and the merits of whether or not it should is a different discussion. You know, that it may be a little bit overpowered for burn damage to heal you with Essence Sap, but at the moment, that's the way it works, and so I'm going to utilize that, and hopefully that ends up being pretty solid for our survivability. So we don't even necessarily have to get in here since this does go through the Big O, but being on this side does also mean the Thermal Lance projectiles are getting in here for some damage as well. So we do have Terminate, we don't have Essence Sap, but we don't need Essence Sap here. We just have to get inside. We've killed all of the vulnerable spots, so we basically just have to sit here and keep it lit up. That did the trick. So for an upgrade, Splinter I don't think is actually any good here. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure it's not. And then Priority 0, you definitely want the Priority 0 line. The increased rate of fire and rotation speed with Overclock when you've got interceptors and what is it, Wingman that puts them at the front, incredibly good. Plus the whole damage resistance. I mean, all of these are really, really good. And losing max hull and shields, this whole line is incredible for this build. And, you know, I'm highlighting it a bit more just because this is a fairly non-standard build for me. And so if you haven't seen these types of runs before, mostly because I haven't done them much on YouTube or stream, then, you know, I'll provide a little bit more context than I've been providing recently when it's just like, take weapon, grab charge shot, grab Gemini Essence Sap and all that, and just kind of go. Because that's been a good number of the runs on YouTube, and I can see that getting, you know, a little old, and that's why I want to try to mix things up here and there. It does mean that there's going to be a little bit less non-game related banter, but we'll see. You know, we may get to a point where we can just kind of cruise and not have to worry about things too much, but it'll all just come down to how the run ends up shaking out. So obviously we want Essence Sap here, but I'm not going to pass up an opportunity for Revelation. Now, what do we want with Revelation? Honestly, probably Solar Heart. There's Interceptor, and now we can really start ticking. Because they will keep Thermal Lances going on enemies, and then you basically just want to get Wingman, where you can keep them firing in front of you at all times. Now, Evasion is an important pickup here, and basically, like, you want the whole Interceptor tree. But you can see we're not doing a lot of damage right now. And we're possibly... Okay, I thought we might actually die there. We were running into some serious health-related concerns, and I didn't know if we were going to make it out of that one alive. But doing okay. And, you know, definitely confidence level on this run is not super high. There is Wingman. And Wingman plus Overpower. I mean, we're getting what we need. And you can see how this is going to start ticking. Now we've got multiple Thermal Lances. And this is the point at which it's like, okay, you consider Overseer, because then you'd have 4 allies spinning around like this. But I think that I want to grab Charge Shot and see if enemies, or if the interceptors do benefit from it, especially if they benefit from Rancor. So of these, Blast Radius increases it, right? As well, right? Yes. So we definitely want Blast Radius. You know, the bigger the lance, the better, because then that gives us a little bit more room to stay at a longer range. I did not realize we were at the Scion already. We want to back up just a little bit, and then you can see that it's ticking down pretty good. No, it's not amazing. We definitely want Corrosion and... wow, I feel bad that I don't remember the last mod in that line. But we want the last one as well. It's a big increase to the burn damage, which is the primary source of damage at the moment. So you can see our damage is starting to pop off, and now overclock is going to be huge. Because now that will increase the thermal lance size of our allies because they have 40% rate of fire, plus they'll be firing their 4 projectile shot even more often, which is also very beneficial. Our allies are a little weak. You know, we are running into some death issues. We are ourselves kind of weak as well. You know, that Celestial didn't die as quickly as you might like it to. But you can see that our wave clear is pretty solid. I think Tactical Link is another great one because we're pretty much always going to be in range of its effect, since we're going to have advanced constructs hovering right in front of us at all times. Now, I am definitely considering the thought that from a being able to dodge perspective, grabbing Overseer at this point would mean that we might die here. Radio silence. We don't have Essence Sap, so our regen is super low. We're okay. Essence Sap would be a really nice one to have. Faster construct speed, rate of fire, minus hull and shields. Apex Machinery. We would consider Apex Machinery. Vital Bond I don't think is good. Yeah, because it requires rapid reconstruction. So I don't think we want that. Honestly, I like Juggernaut here, but I think Overpower, I mean, you love to see it. Because now when the ally fires their regular shots, it's a 6 projectile shot, which does some pretty good damage on its own. So I definitely think we're getting to the point where Overseer would be the correct play. Because we do plenty of damage with just the 2. We would definitely do plenty of damage with 4. So let's go ahead and pick up Self-Destruction. You know, I don't want to go Shielded Constructs. I think that gets into a little bit of spiciness. If we were rocking, you know, Halo Shield, I would consider it. We don't have Essence Sap, so we've got to play careful with these cluster mines and make sure that we can spin around safely. Obviously, greatly increased blast radius is, you know, just a big benefit to lance size. So now our lance is getting up there in overall size. You know, we can fight enemies from a good ways away. From a wave clear perspective, I do think that adding Rupture into the mix would be of great benefit. It's at the moment, we do have some issues killing enemies all around us. If they're in front of us, they're dead. Like, that's not a concern. It's mostly just getting pivoted back around. And again, you know, Overseer would help with that, since I wouldn't need our own lance going. So against this guy, I mean, basically, you want to get around behind him, ideally. Take out all the little mines, and then just make sure that you can avoid the lasers. Taking a lot of extra damage here, both on us and our allies. But the burn damage is definitely cranking. We can kind of sit here for a little bit. You know, try to dodge these shots. Make sure we take out the ads when they do pop up. All right, there's a full kill. Very, very solid. Not too bad at all. I want to kind of hunt for Overseer. I did talk about Rupture. You know, I think Rupture is a good pickup. Also Defiance, though, because this is an increase or a fix for thrust reduction, self-damage resistance plating. But I think we got to go Rupture here. It just benefits us too much when things explode on death that you know, I think it's just a necessity. That combined with corrosion is really good for things like the worms and stuff like that. So against this guy, you gotta hope to burn him down before he collides with you. Taking more damage than I would like. I don't know that this build is gonna be a full pop, but we definitely should be able to beat, you know, the first Seraph with it. Wave 100, I don't see us losing to that, but I do see us running into some issues past that point. You know, I don't know that we'll be sitting on a 1 million run here. There's Charge Shot. I do think Charge Shot is of great benefit to us. We're gonna get out of there and then just try to stand right on the edge here. Ideally get another ally out there. Okay, now we're talking, and then, you know, like I said, I don't know if they will properly use Charge Shot plus Rancor. They do appear to be having the longer lance with us as far as Charge Shot is concerned. So maybe we do want to pick up Rancor, and that would be a big benefit to our interceptors. Because this is not a small amount of damage that we are outputting at the moment. It is definitely doing a lot of good things, but we do also need to keep our allies a little safer than we have been. You know, I gotta take Essence Sap here. Like I said, burn damage with Essence Sap, maybe a little overpowered, but definitely something that I'm very interested in for this build. And then we haven't picked up Gemini Protocol, also probably something to pick up, since that, you know, increases Essence Sap's effectiveness. Since essentially you're able to leverage Essence Sap to regenerate your shield. It's not a one-to-one, it's more indirect, but because basically shield damage can get applied to your hull and then you can heal it back with Essence Sap, while your shield took less damage overall. So honestly, handled that wave a little bit better than I thought. I do wish that we got to, and I'm going to keep saying it, I do wish that we could get to Overseer so I can stop having to worry about how slow we spin around. I believe this is a Champ Celestial. Yes, it is. So we killed it, honestly, perfectly quickly. I'm very happy with the short amount of time that took. When we've got both allies out there, we are pretty strong. I do think Mastery is good, but I want to get to Overseer. I will take Corrosion here, and then honestly, Bravado is... no, actually, Bravado is bad on Engineer. I forgot. Yes. It is a slight boost, a very slight boost to Construct Assembly time with Bravado. I'm so used to Bravado being useful on Architect and Firefly and all the bodies I traditionally use. Not actually very good here. Let's go ahead and grab Juggernaut. I mean, it's gonna make us even slower spinning around, but a little bit tankier, more Essence Sap goodies, and then here is Seraph. So I'm not in radio silence mode at the moment, but we'll kind of see how it goes. I can't really dodge the... there's an ally dead. And I can't dodge lances while we are charging our lance. So you know what? This is going to be a radio silence type situation. Dodge that, please. Dodge that, please. Ally, please. Oh, goodness. Just get the damage down. Essence Sap putting in some great work for us. Dodge the lance. Oh, goodness. We are putting some damage down. We're just not putting enough damage down. Get the allies in there. Get those lances ticking, brother. Oh, we tanked a lance. All right. Clear out the ads while we've got a second here. That's some bad crash damage, brother. Oh, dude. Oh, no. All right. So at this point, I am going to upload this one to YouTube. We are sitting at about a 19-minute run, though. That didn't even make it into the top 10. So I'm going to give you guys a meme run real quick. I haven't done this on YouTube in a while. It's just at this point, I've recorded so many episodes, I should probably just go ahead and put one up that's like, hey, I tried, but I ended up just building it a little bit wrong. I think we should have gotten to Overseer a little bit quicker. It would have been more beneficial for the long-term health of that run. So let's do a meme build. I mean, I love doing it. It's incredibly bad. I think you guys may have even seen it before. It's where we do Blade plus Halo Shield plus Shield Destruction stuff. I do love rocking these types of builds. It's bad, like incredibly bad, but it's a lot of fun. And it is really amusing watching like 7 or more shield projectiles, or blade projectiles all explode at once. It is a lot of fun. Honestly, just like decline the gear swap because I want to get as many. No, hold on. We need Halo. We do need Halo. We are going to want Engineer, ideally. There's Engineer. That gets us a couple more blades. Also, like, Battery ends up being pretty funny with blades as well, since projectile count also increases the amount of blades you send out. So we will need to keep an eye on this and grab Halo as soon as we see it. That was just a dumb mistake, but, you know, easily correctable. Speaking of Halo, there we go. We want shielded constructs as quickly as possible, as well as every shield destruction ability we can get. Now, volatile shields is the main one since it's freaking 1200 damage. Let's see here. I don't think we want any of this, but we don't have any rerolls. So honestly, give me volley. I want the focus of this meme build is not the damage that the blades themselves do. It's the damage that the shield explosions do and the damage that Halo itself does when you're stacking the burn damage on enemies. So we want shield cooldown to get to volatile shields. And of these, honestly, flash shielding, exactly what we want as well. And the thing is, like, volley really isn't that bad for blades. No, obviously we still want construct assembly time. That's one of the major components of this, is being able to spam your blades. But also, like, having the Halo shield as well. And again, like, I'm talking about this like it's a serious build. Keep in mind, this is meant to be a meme build. This is not a good build. Do not try this at home if you're going for a high score. But it's entirely possible that we accidentally do something halfway decent. So this is definitely something we want, and you want to get to self-destruction, shielded constructs, as well as Overseer. Or no, you don't get Overseer. Sorry, excuse me. Bad. Probably get rid of that. I mean, yeah, increase shield durability, that is going to be good, but you do want your shields to explode pretty quickly. Increased burn damage, obviously important, since part of the damage boost is from Halo. And we don't care about the damage that the blades themselves do once we get shielded constructs going. For us, we obviously want, you know, Juggernaut and things like that as quickly as possible, since we're going to be firing out blades that have shields instead of us ourselves having shields. Essence Sap also being a critical component. There's volatile shields, big pickup. And, you know, I just mentioned Max Hull. There you go. There's that. Start working towards Juggernaut. And then we'll just get in here, kill you with Halo. You will probably just sit here and let Halo do what it does. I mean, volatile shields also triggered for us there. Not exactly what I wanted to happen, but also perfectly fine, as it turns out. Corrosion is good. There's shielded constructs, though. This is exactly what I want. And then probably go ahead and grab Skirmish so that we can work on Terminate. And then this is what we do. We send out blades that do burn damage, and eventually their shields explode and do a ton of damage. So let's see, it's probably going to explode against the mines. No, it's not. So actually, with the shield durability, they're staying alive reasonably decently long right now. Now this is where they'll pop. No, that died to a comet first. Okay, now it'll pop. They're stuck. Okay, maybe not. Maybe this is going to work a little bit differently than it has in the past. Sorry about that. Honestly, just give me magnitude. Increases damage. It's fine. So we're actually not running into... There we go. That's what you want to see. That's what you're looking for here. You want the big volatile shields pop. Waiting for it to do it. There we go. That's what you're looking for. You want the big volatile shields pop. And now the other one that's a wild mod doesn't work on shielded constructs, so we obviously can't take that one. I mean, we can, but it doesn't do anything. We do have to be careful here. Again, this is a super spicy build that can put you into a very difficult situation. Juggernaut, definitely a big pickup. Terminate I like, but I think Corrosion is better. And then I thought that we were going to get, a volatile shield tick there. We did not, though. And then here, this is where you just kind of hide in here and let your shields do what they do. Halo shields plus the basic blade damage ends up being pretty decent. And then you just kind of hope that you get a good volatile shields proc, or it just dies without you having to worry about it. So we don't have Terminate. We are going to have to worry about actually taking the Big O all the way down. Here's a volatile shields proc. It dies to burn damage. You love to see it. Now, more projectiles. Obviously a good idea. Projectile targeting, also something that is of great interest. You don't need something like Warp Strike because you're already basically Warp Striking. Essence Sap, definitely a big pickup since you can see right now our regen isn't that great and we take a bunch of damage. Hull resistance, hull plating, all very important pickups as well. Honestly, give me a reroll on that one. I'm thinking that we might want to just take Focus Fire for Fusillade. Payload is also a good one because of Charge Shot. I actually think that's probably a better option than definitely give me Terminate. You definitely want Terminate on anything where burn damage is a primary component. Volatile Shield's got a proc off there. Procced immediately again. We do want to wait for the shields to regen though, since we want more volatile shields procs and more burn damage from Halo. You can see Corrosion putting in work, and that's what you want to see, is finishing a baby jug with a nice volatile shields pop. Popped again there. Wasn't quite a big enough AoE to take all of them out though. I do think that hull damage resistance is a huge benefit here, but I will actually grab Focus Fire. Because I do think that Fusillade is a great pickup, as is basically any Twin Strikes we see. Twin Strike is fantastic since it's more projectiles and doesn't really have as big a negatives as the rest of the volley tree, but at this point, it's mostly just give me more projectiles. I believe increased construct limit will also apply, but I don't remember the best places to get that. Construct assembly speed is important. There are a couple lines that give us that we're going to want to focus on. But you can see, it's really not that low on damage. We're clearing things out reasonably quickly. So it's not a bad build. It's just something that really doesn't scale very well. Because what you see right now is close to as good as it gets. We basically just get to the point where we throw out more blades and increase our burn damage some more. Shield effect radius can come into play, that type of thing, but what you see is what you get. I mean, there's Essence Sap, obviously a big pickup. Cluster Mines, you hate to see it. Pop as many of those as possible with a quick volatile shields. Shields are off cooldown. Pop some more of these Cluster Mines and try not to die ourselves. You gotta hope that Essence Sap is able to put in the work that it needs to. You hate to see it. I hate when you get like a Celestial or really literally anything. We basically one-shot it with volatile shields there, which is just what you want to see. You know, of these, I think that I'd rather just take the plating. And then this is where you get a nice damage check. You got a Scion. We lost some of our blades there. There's a volatile shields proc. Did some decent damage, but obviously not a ton. So it's not like it's doing a lot of damage, but it is definitely doing some, especially when we can get a bunch of projectiles in, or a bunch of blades in there, doing the burn damage via halo the whole way. You can see like shield effect radius would be a big increase. Don't get sucked in, dude. Ah. That was so bad. You gotta dodge the laser. Radio silence for a second here. We shouldn't die to a Scion. Like, I've fought enough Scions at this point that I very rarely die. There's Fusillade. This is, again, this is a fun one. Adds even more blades to the equation, which adds more halo shields, which adds more burn damage, and also more volatile shield procs all at once. I'm just going to focus on not getting sucked into the singularity this time, and then now we'll go for the kill. There we go. That was a lot rougher than it should have been, I'm going to be honest with you. We're taking a lot of damage here, but doing my best to keep things alive right now. Looking for some shields to come off cooldown. Projectile velocity is also a nice one because it sends your blades out farther. There it is. Purification, that's a big one. Increased burn damage and ignite duration. A very good one since, again, burn damage is a critical component of our primary damage sources via corrosion and halo. Make sure we suck up all the XP orbs. You don't want to miss out on good XP. There we go. Exactly what you want there. And like the ideal situation is you get a bunch of blades to stick to an enemy and then have volatile shields proc. Because then that's where you're going to get a big chunk of damage. And so as far as I know, self-destruction doesn't actually work properly with blades, but we're going to try it again. I still don't know whether or not it actually works. Let's re-roll that one, and then I'll pick up Charge Shot. Because Charge Shot does end up benefiting us. We'll actually wait a little bit for more blades to be available, and just kind of charge up a big one here. Alright, we got a full 7. How about we come in here for a full send? And now you got much bigger blades. They do more damage. And you just come in here with another charge. And then there you go. There's a nice good pop. And so Charge Shot actually does help with the overall damage output since it makes the blades themselves better. Doesn't necessarily help with the burn damage or any of that, but since the goal is to make enemies die, I'm not against having it. And again, increased projectile velocity is a big increase, especially once you start adding things like projectile targeting into the mix. Because at the moment you can see that things can go in what appear to be random directions, and that's not exactly what you want. There you go, like tons and tons of damage there. I'm thinking that we may want to look at Calibrate. Yeah, go ahead and give me projectile velocity. You know, I don't think efficiency is good. I don't think Gemini Protocol is good here. I'm actually going to ignore that for the moment. So Death Blossom is the other one I was thinking of. If your shield breaks while it protects you, trigger Death Blossom. not actually any good because our shield doesn't protect us anymore. Singular strike, obviously bad. We're firing a lot of stuff. I think we'll take projectile targeting here. Galvanic outburst is also not a bad one, since when you take shield damage, or actually, I don't remember if Galvanic outburst works or not. I think it may be in the same camp as Death Blossom, actually. We've probably got like a little bit of a worm left or something that was off screen, but whatever it is, it's dead now. So you can see, like, even though it's a meme build, in my opinion, it's a lot of fun. And, you know, it's interesting. It's different. You know, I'm sure that it's not as different as I like to think it is. You know, I'm not unique in coming up with this build or anything. But it's unique in the sense that, you know, it's very different from the type of stuff I usually play in Nova Drift. So again, Overseer is not actually a good thing. So Guidance is a little spooky because it lowers the velocity. But then we get to Convergence, which is more blades. So I will actually take Guidance, especially since the projectile targeting that it adds is incredibly good. You see, we can latch on to enemies a lot easier now. Like, we go in hard. Look at that. The damage output is actually pretty solid on a single target. And so this is obviously a huge damage checkpoint, though. We will definitely see what this build is actually capable of long term. And I mean, this boss is a great damage checkpoint. If you don't kill it quickly, you will just die. There's Convergence. And honestly, like, I'm feeling pretty decently confident about this run at this point. Like, there's Combustion doing what it does, and that boss is dead. Now, we are about to deal with some stuff. Okay, we're good. He kind of came around while we were dealing with the boss, and so I was trying to, you know, take the boss out and ignore him for a moment, and it ended up being a little bit problematic for us. So, honestly, I think Rancor isn't a bad idea. Well, let me understand here. When you take a shield hit, well, so let me understand volatile shields when your shield breaks. So, I am not positive, but if we take this, I think that it will trigger from our blades. It does. So we can start stacking galvanic outbursts, and it will trigger from our blades. It does burn damage, so we already have everything we need for that to be good. Don't forget that your blades can pop projectiles, which is something that I forget all the time. So we're sitting at 9 blades, which is not a small amount by any means. Do the blades themselves do less damage? Yes. But do volatile shields and all of the halo burn damage do a lot? Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And you can, you know, forcibly increase the velocity of your blades as well by just accelerating towards the target you're trying to hit. You know, that is how momentum and velocity work, as it turns out. You know, physics are a thing. I appreciate that, you know, at least that little detail is implemented the way it probably should. I say probably should, the way it really should. Blast Radius doesn't really help us here. I think this is a reroll. And then, oh, Revelation getting us more Galvanic Outbursts could be very, very fun. Because it also increases shield effect power. But I think Snipe, increasing projectile velocity in addition to Calibrate. And honestly, like, the blades themselves do maybe decent enough damage that we would even want to consider Incendiary Strike as an option. We are getting a little swarmed here, though. So I am concerned that we may not be able to take out all of these enemies. Especially the main... Okay, well, maybe we are. Maybe I continue to underrate this build. It actually is doing kind of okay. I am very pleasantly surprised. We took a bunch of damage there, though. I tanked just about every one of those projectiles. Dodge the comets, though? Okay, well, at least I dodged the comets. That is a thing that I apparently was capable of in that brief moment of not being bad. So discharge, when you fire, shield discharges a little bit. Take burn damage and ignite for 30 burning damage per second. I am actually curious how that works with blades. And so I'm going to take it because it's more burn damage. And this is meant to be a meme build, but we've actually gone another 20 minutes at this point. I don't think this works though. Because I'm pretty sure that doesn't count blade. What is it? Blade crash damage. I think I'll actually winnow here. You know, I don't think we'll ever be in a position where Solar Heart is going to be something we can afford. Okay, so I think with discharge, this is actually kind of ridiculously good, maybe? Because it definitely is shooting out all of those bolts when we fire. All right, come on, projectile targeting. Do what you do here. I mean, honestly, that seems pretty good. We're getting a volatile shields proc quicker than I want, though. That's honestly the only concern I have right now is that. We would ideally not have it proc so quickly. Thought we had an upgrade there. But when it works, things really die. More projectiles, more projectile count and increased construct assembly speed all would be highly beneficial things. So you actually saw the Seraph was taking a good chunk of damage there. Honestly, let's reroll until we find some stuff like Calibrate. I mean, I think Calibrate is a really good pickup. That was not a small chunk of damage to give the Seraph. We got Halo back up, watch the crash damage, careful, and then fire. And then take him back, wait a second, dodge that, charge up, make sure you're charging. What are the ABCs of charge shot, ladies and gentlemen? You've heard me say it time and time again, and I will continue to say it until I stop playing Nova Drift, which is never. Always be charging. All right, but the thing is, the second run was more successful. And actually, like, we had a higher damage output, and I felt like it was more consistent. That was a lot of fun, and that was our meme build. So, neither of the runs made it into the top 10, but at least you guys got a full 42-minute episode. That's gonna do it. You know, we'll leave it here on the score screen. That doesn't include either of the runs for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your feedback, likes, dislikes, comments, all that good stuff. Linktree in the description has links to Discord, Twitch, Twitter, all that places, all those other places. Come hang out with us in the community on Twitch, in Discord, on Twitter. Love to have you there. Also, make sure you subscribe here. I do a lot of videos every week, and I would love to have you on board the squad. So make sure you do that as well. And until the next episode, I'm Runt9. And I'll see you later.